hockey. Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Happy Monday morning, if there is such a thing. It's Judd's Hockey Show, and I wish that AJ Fredericks and I were coming to you to talk about an exciting 6-game homestand that kicked off with 2 convincing victories against a good young Utah team and a San Jose team that's got some pieces but is not good. I wish that we could tell you about all of the great things going on as the Wild for the second consecutive season gets off to a great start, but I can't, and here's the thing. So I was actually at the Gopher football debacle with my wife and some friends on Saturday. By the way, left in the third quarter. It was that bad. And now I'm at my sister-in-law's place. And so, AJ, you were at both games. I watched bits and pieces. I'm just going to give you the floor to sort of set the scene of what the hell is going on here.
Well, let's start with Saturday. Saturday, where we waltz into a weekend, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna head on down to the fantastic Grand Casino Arena. No Judd by my side in the press box this week, but I will manage. So I sit down and I get the lines and I'm looking through it, and I got some texts from some buddies. Hey, we're here. Let's meet up. Between periods, blah blah blah. And before I even know it, Judd dropped the puck. Bing bang bong. The Wild are down 3-0 to the Utah Mammoth. And I was talking with a friend of the show, Jesse Pierce, who will be on Wednesday. We both like the Mammoth. We both like their style of play. They're a relatively young team. They are, in a way, like the Castaways they're the former Coyotes, so it's kind of like a ragtag group. But at the same time, they have some very good pieces. Logan Cooley, Clayton Keller, big fan of both of them. They play fantastic hockey. Well, it looks like the rest of the lineup does too, because they took advantage of a Wild team that started on their heels. And this is going to be my echoing theme of the show. Inconsistent starts. On Saturday night, the Minnesota Wild showed up for a 5 o'clock game with a puck drop of 5:07, but we're not ready to play hockey until roughly 5:25. And crazy to think that will haunt you for not only the night, but for multiple days, because that was the theme again on Sunday. 5 o'clock, 5:07 puck drop. You go down 2-0, and granted, they started a little more competitive against one of the worst teams in hockey right now. Granted, they are also one of the worst teams in hockey right now based on standings alone, and they go down 2-0. Lo and behold, would you believe, towards the end of the game, if you start a little better, you start a little more consistent, you might be out of the woods when it comes to having to go to overtime, where you control the puck for 3 minutes and 41 seconds, recording 2 shots on goal, only to turn the puck over after a missed shot attempt by Brock Faber, who then gets beaten in a foot race by Macklin Celebrini, who is going to be a superstar in this league. Might already be there, frankly, based on the season that he's started with here. But about 5-6 seconds of possession to get down the ice, shot on goal, beats Jesper Wallstedt, and you come away with 1 point in 2 games. There's a lot to take away from this weekend set. Sloppy play, inconsistent passes, bad zone entries, power play at times looked okay, but it was mainly the second unit that was really making me kind of get out of my seat. Lapses defensively. Guys are hurt once again. You're missing Marcus Foligno yesterday. We saw massive wholesale line changes too Saturday night that didn't fully carry over to Sunday. So there is quite a bit to part away from this weekend. We can go into it. I know you were at the debacle for the Gophers, but you did, in fact, I think, probably catch the highlights and then watch the game in full yesterday. First off, the Mammoth game. Do you agree that they didn't show up until nearly the end of the first period?
Well, yeah. I mean, just the goal scoring, the score sheet shows that. My thing yesterday was they're also doing what they used to do a few years ago, like Preezy Suter days. They're playing when they want to play, and it's usually when they're behind. Like they get down by 2, it's like, okay, here we come. Yeah. But then they get down by 2 again because they tied it up and they relaxed, and I just don't know what they're doing. I know that right now they just look like they're not a very good team. Like we are, there's a very good chance that at the end of the day, we overrated them completely because they just don't look good, but they also don't look engaged. They look sloppy. They look lazy at times. I mean, Yakov Trenin with the yawning net yesterday doesn't put it in. I saw the picture of Bouillon with a wide open net, and he passed the puck. Now he's a kid, so
I wanted to debunk that because I saw that. I didn't think that would get that much traction. That picture was taken completely out of context.
oh, interesting.
He did shoot the puck on that.
Okay,
Because that was one of those moments after the play wrapped up. I did a Twitter scroll, and I saw that. I was like, I just watched that. I could have sworn.
well, thank you. Okay,
He shot the puck. It got blocked, so it ended up maybe looking angled on TV like a pass, and they maybe not. They maybe didn't go back and play a replay.
nice.
That
Okay.
was a shot attempt. He just got his shot blocked.
Okay, but yeah, the Trenin thing. I think the most damning thing is this. Right now, you could argue that your best player is Marcus Johansson. And if Marcus Johansson, I'm not giving him credit. If Marcus Johansson is your best player, you're awful. So, like, this is not a, well, at least he's playing hard. It's a, oh my God, he looks like your best player. The sloppiness, let's get to that. The Kaprizov on the second goal. I mean, 2 goals. He helped the Sharks score 2 goals with 2 very lazy, sloppy defensive zone plays that, you can't afford. And quite frankly, I'm surprised. So I just don't see a lot there. I don't see a team that's engaged. I don't see a team that plays a complete game. But here's the thing: if they put together a complete game, I'm still not sure that they beat good teams like the Jets on Tuesday. They just don't look like they're that good. And yes, Foligno's out, and I know that he had a season 9 hits on Saturday against the Mammoth, but he still has 0 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where you go from here. Because, again, this reminds me of the Twin start, right? Because the Twin start was, well, if this happened in July, none of you would notice because then it would be in the middle of a long season and we'd just be going through a slump. But now it's time for panic because it's a start. Well, yeah, and then they came back and won, 12 consecutive games or 13 or whatever it was at one point. And then they completely fell apart because at the end of the day, they just weren't that good a team. So this feels like that to me. And I guess players are trying to say all the right things about it's going to be okay. But like you just said, Age, this was, I mean, the Mammoth are a nice young team, excuse me. They're, and the Sharks have some great young talent, but the Sharks had 1 win and Utah's coming into your building and you're coming off a terrible road trip. And that's the effort. Like you get down by 3. I think it's very fair to say that if you care enough to, it's time to push the panic button and wonder what they're going to do because this team sure looks like it needs a spark. And if the start of a 6-game homestand doesn't do that, I don't know exactly what will, short of a major type of change.
If there's a silver lining or a potential spark creator coming out of this weekend, I think it's Brock Faber. On Saturday night, Brock Faber had, and to be clear, Brock Faber is, I think he's still a very fantastic player, but this start to the season he's had, and he admitted post-game on Saturday night, has not been good. He has been playing his best. And granted, his best is a lot better than a lot of defenders in this league, but he doesn't find, based on the comments that he shared, that he's playing anywhere near good in his mind right now. And frankly, Saturday night, I agree. He had some bad turnovers. He had some defensive lapses, just out of position. It was very uncharacteristic. But unfortunately, what we've seen from him this season in post game, he very much took a lot of the blame. And while some guys maybe had shared the very PR 101 answers of, we're working and we're looking for some things, and it's still early, and we're bound to get some bounces back, and it's about playing 16. Brock started with that and then very much shifted with comments onto himself. I have to play better. A lot of I need to be better. I'm messing up. I have to do stuff, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, Sunday night comes around. He is put onto, I want to say, the second power play unit, which is the first time of the season, paired actually with Z Bouillon, who was demoted from Saturday night. So now you have a Brock Bouillon second pairing on that power play unit there. But Brock Faber had one of the best games. He was one of the better players for the Wild last night. And granted, I understand they lost in overtime, but night and day performance difference from Saturday into Sunday. He was still pretty PO'd about losing a game, but I understand that. So it's hard for him to say, I feel better about my play, but it's very apparent. The eye test was there. Defensively, he was there. And I know people are going to say, well, he got beat by Macklin Celebrini could skate the wheels off most guys in this league too. So I'm not going to necessarily hold him accountable there. He was playing fantastic the rest of the game. I'm not going to focus on the one moment where the overtime strategy is still baffling to me. But Brock Faber, to your point, has the kind of captain tendencies, like future captain made guy. He seems like a rally point for what this locker room needs to take notice of, the accountability, the work effort, the competitive spirit, that type of thing, to build off that. And whether they do or not is one thing, but I think Brock has shown that he can be a catalyst for this team. So his play and his turnaround, I think, is evident that there can be a turnaround in the locker room. Granted, this is a huge problem. So one guy doing it is not going to fix what we're currently watching on the ice, but there's at least one little sliver of, you know what, maybe the door crack is just enough to where we can.
How many guys are going to come along though? Like, that's the thing. Like, I've seen this before. There's always guys that care.
Yeah.
But when the majority of guys, to your point, give you what at the end of the day is lip service, right? Like, right. I think Brock cares a lot, and I think Brock will be fine. But yeah, it's nice to see. Yes, I think he's a future captain, but I don't know that changes the entire thing. And here's my other one too. What do you make of Kirill right now? I think we're still at an empty net goal, and is he still at 5 goals? An empty net goal and 4 power play goals during that absolutely tremendous start for the power play. I mean, those two. Yeah. Those two, I mean, the second Sharks goal where he threw the puck up the ice and it got picked off and the Sharks scored. And then the other goal that to me, it wasn't as egregious, but it was still egregious. But what do you make of this? Because I don't know, man. I mean, this is a guy with more talent than he knows what to do with. Ordinarily, I've never said that he doesn't look engaged or that he's making like dumb plays consistently. Like, he is sort of what Gabrick was a great goal scorer, but the defensive side sort of bored him. I've always thought Kirill's a pretty damn complete player, and I still think that, but this isn't showing it.
I would say it's more of a product of how the team is performing right now, too, because he's done these moves in the past, and granted, I haven't liked them then. The no-look, cross ice, high risk, high reward, where if it connects, it's like, wow, what a player. I can't believe he's got eyes in the back of his head like that. Yeah. But also you see when it gets picked up, it's like, that's terrible. But more often than not, it usually doesn't come back to bite them because guys fall back check, take away passing lanes. And then it's like, it's broken up and it's really just more of a turnover and you get the puck back. He's still sitting at 5 goals, 3 assist game last night, brings him to 400 career points. He's up to 14 points on the season, top 5 in the league. So it's not to say that he's not been good in the grand scheme of things, but the turnovers yesterday were egregious. He had 4 in the first period. One of them led to the Michael Misa goal where, and nothing annoys me more in hockey than half-assed like clearances out of the zone that don't get out. And then because it's the most predictable thing where those then turn immediately into an opposing goal. And that's what happened there. Yeah. You just gave him a goal. Later in the game, it's the one along the half wall. And he was in a puck battle. So it's like, was it a giveaway? Was it not? They didn't credit him with it officially, but I would say the pass attempt should have kind of garnered it. Yes. But that gets taken away, fed to Eklund, who buries. So that's 2 goals essentially coming off his stick going the other way. And that's a massive swing in the game, mixed then with just a poor start to the game. Mm-hmm. Like, they lost, but there's 2 small things that if you just flip those around, you start a little harder and he's a little more careful with a couple passes, you win this game by 3 or 4 goals.
Oh, if Trent pots that puck, they take a 3-2 lead, right?
Yes, and I'm trying to still be a little more forgiving about Jakob because he's been fine up until that, but also that was, how do you not get a shot off there?
Right.
Like, yes. He got handcuffed a bit, but also you got to, yeah. Kirill though, I think the comments post game, like, it's very much, I don't think there's much to take away from it. That's very PR 101, I think, but
yeah.
When you see his reactions on ice to how he's playing, like when he gives the puck away a second time, he looked like he wanted to put a stick through a wall. Like, he was not thrilled, and I think because of it. And granted, he should. Like, but also don't make that play. It's you're
fix it, dude.
You're a tremendous player. You should know you can't just throw the puck to a dangerous area blindly and just, hey, somebody's going to be there.
Yes.
You can do that offensive zone more like a little with a little more forgiveness, but what we saw yesterday was just it was just bad hockey. Like, it was just real bad hockey, and I think it kind of compounds with how they've been playing. So if he continues it here for the next couple of games, then it's a serious problem. But I can write off one night where he had 3 points, but also contributed 2 goals the other way. So
I don't think it's too much of a stretch though to say that you need more goals. Like, he hasn't scored 5-on-5. So
yeah.
like this is a disappointing start. I don't care where he is in, 3 assists is great, but it's a loss. But I mean, you need more from him. And I don't know, the contract doesn't kick in until next season. And I don't know if he's feeling the pressure of the contract or what exactly. But he has to, as we talked about, the day he signed that contract, despite the fact it does not start until 2026, 27, there's tremendous pressure for him to produce. And if he caves to that at any point in time, like right now, what you need is a Kaprizov hat trick game where he plays a flawless game. And it's like, I mean, that's going to make you feel good, right? That's going to make your team feel, I'm sorry, coming back from 2 goals down a couple of times when you basically didn't engage, which is what I'm seeing sometimes too. Like, the stick checking is lazy. The board battles aren't there. Like, it's sort of like everyone's down in the dauber, which, okay, that's going to happen. But what I need then is my best players to emerge. Like, I need Kirill to say, screw it, I'm going to win this game by myself. Bleep all of you guys.
Yeah.
Boldy's the only guy I've seen that has shown up what I feel is like consistently. Credit to him. Faber has struggled, but he's got to come out of that too. Like, dude, you're in your, 3rd year now?
Yeah.
You got to come out of that. Like, I know he's upset at himself, and I know he's down, and he seems to get dejected, but you're a pro now. Get mad. Don't get dejected. And so I'm just seeing a lot of very concerning things. And again, for a lot of the roster, I'll go back to this. I just don't know if it's any good, which is the scary thing. Do not take a heart in Marcus Johansson being your best player. Again, that's scary. That's really, really bad. Like, Marcus Johansson being one of your most engaged best players who's now on the first bleeping line, that's a red flag. That means you're going nowhere. So it's just very odd. And look, at some point in time here, if this continues, John Hynes' job security is going to come up. Like, this is the National Hockey League. We like to fire people around Thanksgiving. So that's going to definitely come up. So I got a couple more questions for you, but first I want to talk to you, AJ, and the fans out there. I want to talk to you about good hockey, okay? Because you've seen some bad hockey. How about some just outstanding international puck? Because the World Junior Championships are coming to our fine state December 26th through January 5th. This is, I've been talking about, it's the best tournament, in my opinion, the best annual tournament in sports, not hockey, in sports. 50th anniversary of the tournament, hasn't been here since 1982. What it is it's the best under 20 players in the world, including a ton of future National Hockey League stars competing on our ice right here. Single game tickets are on sale now, starting at $39. Those are for preliminary round and quarterfinal matchups. Medal round packages will be released at a later date. The 2 arenas hosting, of course, Grand Casino, which is where the Wild plays its home games, and then also 3M at Mariucci as well. So for ticket information, go to worldjuniorsmn26.com. That's worldjuniorsmn26.com. And if you are going to, if you're going to go see a game in St. Paul, let me tell you right now how to start that night, because the place to start that night is Parlor, right down West 7th. You've heard about the burger. I've told you about the chicken sandwich. Just absolutely great. Great service, great craft cocktails, great beers, and ultimately, probably the most important thing, outstanding food. Parlor in St. Paul. There's also one in the North Loop. So if you're going to a Wolves game, check out that one before the game for a bite to eat. And then there's also the newest Parlor in Excelsior. So if you're going out to Excelsior, make sure that you stop in there. Did I see this right? And I didn't watch the game close enough to keep tabs on combinations. Did we start off last night's game with Buyam and Jurasek playing together?
Yeah, that was part of the. There were some line changes throughout the weekend. What
exactly happened there? I mean, did John Hynes forget who they are?
I'm not exactly fully sure.
Recklessly speculate for me, buddy. That's all I've got, and the team's not going to tell us.
If I can recklessly speculate, I think if you look at stat sheet wise, going into last night, Jared Spurgeon on the year was a -9 on the season.
Okay, yep.
And as much as we want him to be, I think, a defensive stability guy, a stabilizer for an offensive dynamo in Zeev Buium, I think when you are John Hynes and you want to probably calm things down, you put two defensive lines together. That being said, that being said,
yes,
I've already mentioned this to you. I think Jake Middleton so far has had he's flying under the radar for having a very bad defensive start to the season. And you saw last night, and maybe it was the pairing, maybe it was just how they like the environment of the game. The Middleton Spurgeon defensive pairing, analytic wise, had a terrible night. Like they defensively were not good last night. So I'm not sure really what the thought process is there. On the flip side, the Faber Brodin pairing that we all know, they had a very good night, in part because Brock had a good bounce back. As Brodin was sound defensively. Jiricek Buium, that was something to watch. I think here's what I'll say too. Jake Middleton going to the box in the second period, I want to say yesterday. Yep. I don't think David Jiricek had a shift all period. And then they say, you know what? We need you to go kill a penalty for us.
Yeah.
So he makes a mistake, and it was a very bad mistake, and one that I think I audibly said, like, where are you going, as he drifts up the wall to help, leaving a slot for Macklin Celebrini to just walk by, get down low, and then feed out front for, I want to say, Tyler Toffoli on the power play. But to ask a guy who you really already haven't given that many chances to right. One, sit out essentially an entire period and then say, you got to go kill a penalty now. That's a tough ask. But you are also a professional. You're on your second team. You're trying to make a point as to why you should be getting game time and making a regular appearance on the ice. That's just a huge mistake. I think any defender should know I'm not moving above the faceoff dot. And he was near the top of the circle by the time that he got blown past.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw the highlight.
So that pairing was tough.
But
they have a defensive issue right now.
But that pairing should be tough. Like that's a ridiculous pairing. Like, how do you do that? How in good conscience do you have a line sheet and put those two together? Like that is reckless as a coach. Like, what are you doing? They both need support. Like, they both have offensive skills. Obviously, Zeev above Jiricek's, but okay, that's great. They both have skills, but they cannot be together. That's a ridiculous thing. And then to throw him in on the PK. And look, you know what, too? But this is why I want him to play, because at the end of the day, this just might be a terrible trade. Like, that's the thing about this. I mean, there's a reason why, the 6th overall pick in his draft, Columbus traded him. And so, but this is why he needs to play. This is why, in my opinion, is okay. And, how long are you going to keep him in Iowa? How long are you going to keep, that's my, he needs to go to Iowa to gain. He clearly, a lot of these guys have conquered it down here. And so now the question is, are you just what they call in baseball, a quad A player, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to find out. And if you're finding out he's not good, like if he cannot play defensively, then it's just a bad, terrible trade. But let's find out without this whole thing of, and it's always age, right? It's always, but look at the age, look at the age, look at the age. Well, my thing too is, okay, but let's get some games played to see. So, like, what are you going to bring him up at 25 and be like, okay, now he can play? So but beyond that rant, putting those two together, to me, I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, that is highly irresponsible. And it really looks like you're doing it not to play them and to try to hide them 5-on-5. There's just a lot of confusing things, and I know Hynes is probably panicked. Like, he won't say it publicly, but he's probably panicked. Yeah. But let's give these, if we're gonna play these guys, let's give them a chance. And if Spurgey's struggling or doesn't like it, that's on Spurgeon. Like, Jared Spurgeon's your captain and a veteran. Yeah. You can't have, in my opinion, you shouldn't be picking and choosing your defensive partners because the team's like, we need you to play with this guy. And you're like, oh, no, I need a veteran. It's why I call these guys stabilizers. If you can't stabilize, the classic guy, Ryan Suter, always wanted to play with Spurge. Always. And I remember they put him with Dumba for a time, and I'm like, this is exactly what they should do.
Yep.
And he, as far as I could tell, complained his way right back to Spurge. It's like, okay, that's great. You got a number one pairing now of two guys that can. They basically become. It feels like it becomes a crutch. Well, if I screw up, Spurge will cover for me. I just think they're doing it all wrong if this is what they want to do. And if it's not what they want to do and Juracek just cannot play, I don't know how long that you are going to have to then say, okay, dude, go to the American Hockey League for the next year and a half, 2 years. Okay, at that point in time, it's just a bad trade.
Yeah.
It just is. I'm sorry. If he comes up and plays okay after that, it's still a bad trade. You gave up a ton to get him.
And that's once it may be a development thing too within the system, which is how can you create these players that are comfortable and effective and able to, in some cases, dominate the game at the Iowa level, but then as soon as they make the jump, they're almost deemed ineffective. You're just unwilling to play them, unwilling to give them a chance. Like the gap is big. It has to be because it's the minor leagues. But is it that big to where a guy who we see putting up almost sometimes points on a nightly basis makes the jump, and now it's fourth line, we're giving him 5 minutes of ice time, and I do not trust him to do anything of any certain any substance. Really quick for you two, just a little time on ice talk here.
Let's do it.
In terms of the Juracek Buium pairing, Buium had, because of power play time, 16:45 of time on ice last night. Countered that with David Juracek's 8:52. So that's the discrepancy in how much they actually care about that pairing being out there. You're running essentially 2 D lines for 5-on-5 play, which you can't do and then lose against one of the worst teams in hockey.
Well, how about Kaprizov's time on ice last night, which I believe was the most for a forward in a single game this season against the San Jose Sharks?
27:08.
I mean, what
27:08.
Yeah. Having to do that is reason enough to push the panic button. Like, you are playing your star player 27 plus minutes in a game against a team that you should be able to beat with everyone playing their normal allotment of time.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Fourth line barely saw the ice at all. Tyler Pitlick 434, Ben Jones 432, Dania Yurov 538, which the Yurov thing really confuses me because Saturday night they gave him an elevation. Yep. They put him on the left wing with Eriksson X centering, Matt Boldy on the right. Matt Boldy pointless through the weekend after getting demoted to the second line, by the way. That line confused me because I watched them and they had the chemistry between 12 and 22, I thought was there. There was a connection that I watched and they didn't find the back of the net, but there was times where I was like, this is the makings of an explosive line.
Yeah.
And then I walk into the building on Sunday and I get the line charts and I'm like, oh, he's back down. And granted, I do think Tarasenko has played a decent enough defensive game, but he's been playing like a very solid third liner.
Right.
And this is the Ryan Hartman conversation all over again.
And you just said defensive player. This guy used to score 30 goals at the drop of a hat, and now he's a defensive player, which is totally not why you traded for him.
Yeah.
Like Tarasenko's playing like a guy that you could have gotten in any old trade, and his name could be Brad Jones.
Yeah.
But the Yurov thing too. So the Yurov thing, but also the Boldy thing, and we talked about this before. There has been, I cannot think of an instance where Boldy and Kaprizov have been broken up, which I totally get why they have been to try to spread the wealth around. And granted, they did score 5 goals last night, but there has not been a game that I can remember where I'm like, oh, it's going to click for the guy being sent down to the next line.
Yeah.
Like, it just hasn't clicked. And so you're almost forced to play them together to maximize. But now they're going to say, well, but Johansson's playing so well. So I'll go back to what I said at the top of the show. What do you do here? Like, it feels to me, it doesn't feel to me like a fluke. It feels like they're not that good. They're not nearly engaged enough. They're panicked privately because they're seeing the results. And, you can bury yourself in a pretty bad spot by Thanksgiving. And everyone will talk about the Blues, 4 or 5 years ago now. Well, the Blues came back. They were last in the league, and they won the Stanley Cup. Okay, congratulations. You know how often that happens? Mm-hmm. So if they weren't panicked, I would criticize them. They should be. But the question is, are they good enough to dig themselves out, or is this just really them? Kaprizov obviously comes back and plays, but there's not a bunch of guys. It's not like you're going through a laundry list of guys who are slumping and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe they're slumping. Marcus Foligno, 0 points. Somewhat surprising. But if you told me he had 4 points, I'd be like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. He's walked his way into 4 points at that point, and I can believe it.
Right.
But he hasn't.
Right. So anyway, no, it's I appreciate the updates. I appreciate you sharing. Now they got Winnipeg on Tuesday. That'll be great fun. It'll be interesting to see if they come out and actually play a full game, because if you don't play a full game against the Jets could blow your drawers off if the Jets show up as well. But we will be back on Wednesday, Judd's Hockey Show with Jesse. Jesse, very, very hot right now. And by hot, I mean she's pissed. Yes. I basically saw that this team is. I basically saw a Twitter shorthand for swear words from Jesse. So we will talk to her. She'll join the show on Wednesday. I'm Judd. He's AJ. Thanks for watching.